Do you need an LLC to sell on Amazon? Hi guys, this is Nicole Green with Robert Holland Associates. I'm one of the tax advisors, and today we're going to talk about if you need an LLC to sell on Amazon. Before we get into it, please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our videos. So we are going to talk about if you need an LLC to sell on Amazon. The short answer is no, you don't need an LLC. But you do have some options and you can get an LLC. So let's discuss why we don't need an LLC, if we should get an LLC, and when is it really ideal to get an LLC and the benefits that go along with having the LLC. So, no, we don't need an LLC to sell on Amazon. You can go on Amazon, create your profile, and start selling under your personal name. You'll get a 1099 that's attached to your social. And that's perfectly fine. You can sell thousands of items and generate thousands of dollars of profit, and you're going to have no issue. When you get that 1099, you're going to do your personal return. You're going to create a Schedule C with that same 1099, and you'll have all of the gross revenue that you generated from Amazon. Then you'll have all of your deductions. You'll pay tax, income tax on the profit, and then you'll pay self-employment tax on the profit as well. And if you did want to get an LLC, you absolutely can. There's different types of LLCs that you can get. There's sole proprietorships, there's just general LLCs, there's partnerships, there's all different types. Let's talk about if we got a single member LLC. That means you're doing this all by yourself. You're going to register with the federal government and you're going to register with the state. When you create your Amazon account, you're going to use that EIN number that you got with the feds, and you're going to sell through that company that you have created. Yes, it is a company, and you're going to sell as that company. You are the runner, the manager, the owner, the everything for that company. And when Amazon interacts with you, they're going to interact with that company. Well, they're going to interact with you, but through that company, because that company is going to be your face. It's going to be your shield. That company is also going to give you extra liability. It's also going to limit the liability that you have because you have this little shield. And the different types of LLCs that you create will also help with the amount of protection that you get. But we're not going to go into that because I'm not a lawyer. I'm only here to talk to you about the tax side. And so when Amazon is talking to you, when they're paying you, they're going to pay that company. They're going to talk to that company. So you need to open a bank account for that company. You have full access to that bank account. You can take money in and out of that bank account as much as you please. It will not affect your taxes. Now that we know that we don't need to have an LLC, but we can have an LLC and how it will work if we do have an LLC, let's talk about the benefits of having the LLC and when should I have this LLC, if it makes sense at all. So the LLC is going to register with the feds and with the state. And when you register it with the states, that is where you start to see some additional taxes. You have like an annual tax. I'm here in the good old state of California, and so there is an $800 tax, basically like a parking ticket, that I get every year for every company that I have, and it's a minimum of $800. Depending on how much revenue I have coming in will determine how much annual tax I pay, but the minimum is going to be $800. And so we need to make sure that the benefits of the LLC will go ahead and make up for the extra fees, because what's the point of having something if it's going to just cost us more money? Like, at the end of the day, we want it to benefit us and we want to keep the money in our pocketbooks. So yeah, we want to keep all of the money. We want to keep as much money as possible. We want to make sure that there's a benefit and there's a savings for having this LLC. And so we need to make sure that the revenue that you have will make it reasonable. The reason that people put up an LLC is for the additional liability protection. The LLC will also, in some cases, give you the ability to easily switch from an LLC to an S Corp. You can do it retroactively. And so if you're going to take selling on Amazon, selling on Etsy, selling on anything as a full-time job, and your profit is going to be roughly $40,000 to $60,000, anywhere kind of around there, you need to make sure that you start with an LLC, and then at the end of the year we can see where we are and see if we should or should not switch from that LLC to an S Corp. The reason people switch from the LLC to the S Corp is because that's self-employment tax. When you're selling all by yourself under your social, you're going to pay self-employment tax on the profits. When you're selling through an LLC, a single member or a partnership or anything, and you're selling it as a full-time job, you're going to pay self-employment tax on your share of the profits. And so self-employment tax, 15.3%, can really be a little bit of a bummer. And that can be a little bit of an extra hit that people are not thinking about, because generally people just think about their income tax, and self-employment tax is an additional tax. When you work at, like, you know, if you're working at a W-2 job and you're working at a bank or, I don't know, wherever you want to work, or insurance company, whatever, you have that self-employment tax taken out through payroll taxes in your job. So some people will have their LLC taxed as an S Corp so that they can limit the self-employment tax, because that 15.3% is in addition to income tax. Now, what are the benefits of an LLC? An LLC, one, provides you with additional liability protections, which that's obviously going to be a benefit. And so if you're doing sales with multiple companies, or you're just a little bit concerned and want a little bit of protection for your own personal assets, an LLC might be an ideal type of situation. An LLC does also provide a little bit extra anonymity. Is it complete anonymity? Absolutely 100%. No. You can go and find out who owns the LLC. Yes, there are steps that you can take to provide yourself with additional layers of protection to help with the anonymity. However, all those layers do involve management and maintenance, and sometimes those management and maintenance, actually most of the time, that has a cost. And so you need to really think, like, how much am I making and how much anonymity do I really want? And because there should be a balance. We don't want to have all of these expenses for just, making $20,000 on Amazon. Like, it doesn't make sense. An LLC also does provide an additional amount of deductions that you're able to take, as opposed if you were just doing it on a Schedule C. There's some different ways that you can do some deductions, especially if you're in a partnership. We're going to have a little bit easier times with depreciation. But again, LLCs are not necessary to sell on Amazon. So you really need to look at what the profit that you are going to make when you're selling on Amazon. Are you going to make this a full-time business? If you are going to make it a full-time business, great. Let's go ahead, open up that LLC. If you are going to try and make it a full-time business, maybe we do it under our social, keep expenses down to a minimum, and then as it goes, we switch it to an LLC. You can do that. It's not as if you're locked into having it under your social and you can't change. You absolutely can change throughout the year, and you can change many years later. You can't go retroactively and change 4 years in the past, but you can change after you've been doing it for a couple of years and then you want to add the LLC. That is not an issue. You really need to, the key thing is you really need to make sure that your LLC is serving a benefit for you, that it actually has a reason for existence, and it's not just another thing to do and another expense. Because there's all these people out there that will sell you the greatest of ideas and sell you the workshops and sell you all the classes that you can do, and you need this structure and you need to contact this lawyer and open up this and do all of that. All of these things have costs. All of these things require maintenance. And then at the end of the day, you're not really making that much profit. We want to keep the things down to a minimum, and we add the additional layers of protection and the additional layers of the additional things that you have in your network, in your atmosphere, to help you, because we have such a large profit. It's kind of like, somebody that's like a superstar or something like that. If you're a superstar, of course you're going to have your entourage. You're going to walk in with 5 people. But if you've been in one little movie and you're a B character, walking by yourself, maybe have the publicist on the phone, okay? All right, guys. Please make sure you like and subscribe to this video. My name is Nicole from Robert Hall & Associates. I am one of the amazing tax advisors here. You can go to our website, roberthalltaxes.com, and you can sign up for a free 30-minute consultation. If you have questions, that is a wonderful way to ask questions. All right, I will see you on the next video. Thank you so much.